Good afternoon and welcome to the launch of the Northern Asian Powerlist. Often silently, the Asian community have for decades provided a powerful and varied contribution to the UK and in particular the north of England. With over 4.3 million British Asians in the UK contributing to 120 billion to the economy each year, enhancing livelihoods across our towns and cities, the Northern Asian Powerlist is about telling that story and illuminating these leading figures. The Powerlist is less an awards ceremony. This is a community of achievement and contribution which aims to work together. From our work, it is clear that the British Asians are making a powerful contribution to all walks of life in every town and city, whether business, cultural, academic or civic. These awards were judged by over 50 leading individuals who had the unenviable task of selecting the Powerlist, which is to be celebrated today. The Powerlist is being driven forward by a number of businesses and wider organisations active in the North, who recognise the vital contribution of the Asian community. These include Squire Patton Boggs, Leeds Beckett University, Leeds City Region Enterprise Partnership, the NatWest, Manchester India Partnership, and of course the Business Desk. We're also really delighted that the Powerlist has messages of support from the Consul General of India, Pakistan High Commission, the Sri Lankan High Commission, Bangladeshi High Commission and Afghanistan Embassy, who understand the concept of the living bridge and the development of the relationships with the country of origin. The Powerlist will be a biannual celebration starting in 2020. Thanks to the Business Desk, our report will be launched virtually. In normal times, we'd be celebrating in person, but we are not in normal times. So we will use this as an opportunity to really lift the lid and then progress to a range of activities in the future to build the community of Powerlisters. So, to commence with the official proceedings, may I invite our first presenter, Lord Karan Balamoria, CBEDL, who has been a great supporter of the project.
Hello, thank you so much, Sharon, and it's a real privilege for me to take part in this event. And can you all, firstly, see me and hear me clearly? Can somebody wave or put a thumbs up or say something that can...
We can hear you, Lord Bellamori.
Fantastic, fantastic. I'm so honoured to be here to help mark the inauguration of the Northern Asian Powerlist. And I want to start by thanking the founders, the organisers, Sharon in particular, and I've been associated with this and what you've been doing for years, and with me and with Cobra Bear, and it's the Powerlist is an immense source of pride for me, and I know it's taken a huge amount of hard work and determination to make it happen, thanks to all the people involved, all the sponsors, and long may it run. And at its heart, it's a chance for us to celebrate the contribution of British Asians to the UK. I led a debate, I remember in 2012, on the contribution of the ethnic minorities to the economy and culture of Britain. And if you heard the speeches from 26 different speakers from different religions, different backgrounds, different countries of origin, many British Asians, you realize that without the contribution of the ethnic minorities, this country would not be today the sixth largest economy in the world. The contribution of cultural life, prosperity to our global standing. And Britain may not be a superpower, but we are very much a global power with wonderful hard power and soft power at the top table of the world. Here we are fighting for justice and social change, creating jobs, world-leading brands from the British Asian community, driving cutting-edge research and innovation, and a depth and breadth and mix of contributions. And those on the Powerlist are extraordinary. I'd love to name you all, and that's what the Powerlist is. And the most important thing, I believe, with people who are successful is that your achievements are an aspiration to others, aspiration particularly to the younger generation. And that aspiration should create achievement, which in turn creates inspiration and aspiration and achievement, and it's a virtuous circle. So your inspiration is crucial, raising the bar for what our young people can achieve. And the famous saying of Sir Isaac Newton, that if I've achieved anything, it's by standing on the shoulders of giants. And I know the valuable role that regional business organizations such as the Leeds City Region Enterprise Partnership, the Manchester India Partnership all play, acting as brokers for investment, hosting international delegations, promoting the North of England's unique character and competitive strengths to generate investment and growth. And as Sharon said, a living bridge between our countries of origin. So also, I want to just stress on how much more we need to do to ensure that leaders and decision makers across society better represent our communities. Local and regional bodies are vital to us reaching that goal, and so too is the CBI, the Confederation of British Industry, the largest business organization in the UK, which represents 190,000 companies and 7 million employees. That's 1/3 of the private sector workforce in the UK. And I'm very proud to be the first person of Indian origin, the first British Asian to be the president of the CBI in its 60-year history. And I've been very clear about my priorities as president in the difference that I want to make. And it's a huge privilege, but I really, really want to reinforce and champion the importance of diversity to the UK's success. And when I moved to the UK from India, when I was 19 years old, this country gave me the opportunity not only to study, to qualify as a chartered accountant with what is today Ernst & Young EY, to graduate in law from the University of Cambridge, but to start my own business, Cobra Beer, an idea that I had as a university student, and build that business over the last 3 decades. This country gave me that opportunity. And I think we should always be grateful to Great Britain for the wonderful opportunities it has given all of us. And I just want to ensure that more talented people, in particular from BAME backgrounds, get that same chance. And we've come a long way. And we had a photograph on the steps of the throne after the last elections, and Rishi Sunak was there, and Preeti Patel was there, and Alok Sharma was there, all cabinet ministers. And there were over 100 parliamentarians of ethnic origin on those steps. Now that's still a long way away from the 15% in this country. That doesn't even make up 7% of parliament. But to think that in 1987, there were just 5. And before 1987, there was just 1 member in the House of Lords. So we have come a long way, but we've got to go further. And if it's not fair, if it isn't right, it must change. And that action now to ensure that ethnic minorities have the same opportunities as everyone else, to get to the very top of their chosen professions. This country used to have a glass ceiling. There is no longer a glass ceiling. I really genuinely believe that anyone in this country can get anywhere, regardless of race, religion, or background. But the importance is diversity, but also inclusion. And a Harvard professor of mine said that diversity on its own is no good. It needs inclusion as well. And then you can be more competitive, then you can be more productive, then you can be more innovative and increase employee satisfaction and engagement. And according to the review by my fellow peer, Baroness Ruby McGregor-Smith, an estimated £24 billion boost a year to our economy if we champion diversity and inclusivity in our companies, and including addressing the ethnic pay gap. One of my initiatives, as I said, to champion as a CBI, has come true. Yesterday, we announced the Change the Race Ratio, a new initiative that the CBI is championing. And now we have companies joining us, such as Deloitte, Aviva, we've got McKinsey, we've got Microsoft, already, even at the announcement of the launch, who have joined us, championing Change the Race Ratio, to increase racial and ethnic diversity among board members, to increase racial and ethnic diversity in senior leadership, to be transparent on targets and action, and to create a culture in which talent from all diversities can thrive. And at the outset, we're going to champion the Parker Review in 2016, which says there needs to be at least 1 FTSE 100 board member of ethnic minority origin by 2021, and 1 ethnic minority member on FTSE 250 companies by 2024. And what are the statistics today? Today, it's only 37% of FTSE 100 companies do not have a single ethnic minority board member. And 69% of FTSE 250 companies do not have a single ethnic minority board member. We're going to do our best to champion that, because a McKinsey review in 2019 said very clearly that ethnic and cultural diversity of the top quartile companies that had ethnic and cultural diversity outperformed those in the fourth by 36% in profitability. So this isn't just doing things for the sake of it. It makes business sense. It makes a difference. So I'm delighted once again to be with you. The Northern Asian Powerlist shows us that there should be no limits to our ambition. let's aspire and achieve against all odds with integrity. Congratulations to everyone honored on this year's list, and I hope and I'm sure you will enjoy today's celebrations. Thank you.
Thank you, Lord Bilimoria. Such inspiring words. If I can now ask the chairman of MP11, a dear friend, a great advocate, Roger Marsh, OBE, DL, to say a few words. Thank you, Roger.
Thank you, Sharon, and hello to everybody. And I'm delighted to be here today and very privileged to be sharing this virtual platform with many others, and particularly Lord Bilimoria. And thank you for your remarks. And as a fellow chartered accountant, I feel like I'm in good company, although trained by Pricewaterhouse, but I'll forgive you, Ernst & Young. But that's just an interesting. I was reflecting on what you said about diversity, and I think about my own LEP board, the City Region LEP, where over 40% of the private sector on that board are from a wide variety of ethnic origins. So the Northern Asian Powerlist of 2020 does shine a spotlight on the significant sustained contribution of the Asian business community right across the North. And for me, reinforces the pivotal role the North has as part of the national recovery, as well as sustained prosperity for decades to come. And it's always important, and so it's a great opportunity to celebrate exceptional business and cultural leaders who are driving innovation, economic growth, and accelerating the success not only of our regions, the North and the UK as a whole. And indeed, throughout our history, the North has been a place where diverse businesses thrive. And as the report showcases, there are many inspirational businesses and cultural leaders to be thanked for their contribution. I've been honoured to be part of the judging panel, and in the category I was asked to judge, I was simply blown away by the quality and quantity of the entries. The nominations and winners we choose are all exceptional business leaders, as I said, driving force innovation, creating success, and importantly, a strong focus on giving back to their communities. Often we talk about inclusive growth, but we don't actually describe how it feels, how it looks like, how we wear it. What struck me on many occasions is that inclusive growth is part of the cultural DNA of the Asian community, in particular the business community. Obviously, as a country, our relationship with the Indian subcontinent is important. And I'm glad to hear the message of support from the High Commissioners of Bangladesh, Pakistan, Sri Lanka, and Afghanistan, and the Consul General of India. International collaboration, trade and investment are crucial to ensure our sustained economic growth, and particularly in the North. And as chair of NP11, together with all of my colleagues right across the North, we are committed to building even stronger links with the Indian subcontinent. It's important to note that India in particular is the 6th largest non-EU trading partner, and together with Pakistan, Bangladesh, Sri Lanka and Afghanistan, together there's 30 billion of trade on an annual basis. But there's more we can do, and we will do. It's a huge opportunity. But there's lots of things we need to do better at home. And as I'm saying, I'm delighted by the colleagues on my own LEP board and more broadly across the North that are making sure that we are properly integrated, we are properly focused, and everybody is treated in the same way. I mentioned expanding those trading relationships. It won't be done overnight, but the work of Sharon and Yaba and events like this help reinforce the importance in a modern, integrated, equal Britain, in my view, and the North, as always, should be leading the charge. So I'm delighted to be here to celebrate the success of the Asian business community, the various leaders, and hearing the words from a number of the winners today. Can I add my personal congratulations and thanks to all those who took part? As I said, it's a further example of why the North is a key part of the national economic and social solution for decades to come. And I think our diversity and our variety should be key to our vitality. I'll finish on something that struck me when I read it a few months ago, the words of George Bernard Shaw. And he said, "We are not made wise by the recollections of the past, but by our collective responsibility for the future." And the work that Sharon and others done, for me, ensures that that future will be bright for not only ourselves, but those who come after us. So well done, everybody. And I look forward to hearing from the winners as we go through that. Thank you, Sharon.
Powerful words. Thank you, Roger. And now to the part that we've all been waiting for, which is the announcement of the winners. Over to Alex Turner, the Joint MD of the Business Desk. Thank you, Alex. Can you let us know who's won?
Thank you, Sharon, and welcome everybody. It's great to be part of today's event. I mean, our speakers so far, Sharon, Roger Marsh and Lord Bilimoria, have set the scene talking about the what, why, where and when. I'm in the next 25 minutes or so going to take you through the who before we round off with a couple of great speakers who are going to touch on the what's next. And the Powerlist isn't just a who, it's a real who's who of the North, with people representing the whole geography of the North and a range of the key sectors that we have here across our business community. So we've got 11 categories to get through and some fantastic winners for me to speak with. So I will crack on with our first category, which is politics and diplomacy. Now, there are no prizes for guessing the winner of this category this year. Rishi Sunak MP has made an incredible impact on the country in incredibly challenging and difficult times. But the shortlist is also very impressive. From the northeast, we have Councillor Irim Ali and Councillor Mohammed Javed. From the northwest, we have Mayor Andy Burnham, Mo Issa and Pasha Shah. And from Yorkshire and the Humber, we have Baroness Varsi and Councillor Mazak Iqbal. Now, unfortunately, Rishi is one of just two winners who can't be with us today. I'm sure you appreciate he has a very, very busy schedule. But I think it's just worth just briefly thinking about just the impact that he's managed to have since he became Chancellor, and since he really became more familiar to us in the last year. Last month he became the longest serving Asian Chancellor of this country, but really it feels like he's just at the start of his political career and will have an impact potentially for decades to come. And in fact, who knows where he might be living in just 12 months or so, or a little bit further ahead. But clearly, a real leader as well as one to watch at the same time. Our second category is business leader. And our winner is someone very familiar to many of you, Simon Aurora from B&M Group. But our shortlist also includes from the northeast, Amar Mirza, Imran Khalik, Minu Malhotra. From the northwest, we've got Bilal Hassan, Iqbal Ahmed, and Khalid Safullah. And from Yorkshire and the Humber, we've got Arnie Singh, Harpreet and Banwaith, Munir Mahmoodi, and Zed Pervez. Simon, welcome. Thank you for joining us. I know it's an incredibly busy time for B&M. A great milestone last month during the FTSE 100. More good news out this week with the growth plans and some fantastic figures. What's standing out for you at the moment?
So I guess well, first of all, thank you all very much for this award. Probably entirely undeserved, but nevertheless very very welcome. I suppose. Excuse me.
Too much time at Trump rallies.
I suppose what's on my mind at the moment is dealing with the current constraints around how we trade safely, making sure we deliver that for our colleagues and our customers, but at the same time having an eye on growth, because that is the DNA of this particular business. For those listening who aren't familiar with the story, my late father came to Manchester in the late 1960s. His three sons, I'm the eldest brother, we bought a business in January 2005 called B&M. At the time, it was 20 shops in Blackpool, small loss-making business. And through the hard work of tens of thousands of incredible colleagues at store and in our support centre, as you say, we've created a FTSE 100 business that today comprises 34,000 colleagues. We're worth twice that market cap of Marks and Spencer's. We're worth more than Morrison's and Sainsbury's. It's been a phenomenal journey. But as I say, it's been lots of keeping your head down and sticking to the knitting day in, day out over the last 15 years. But I'd like to sort of finish by just reflecting on the fact that it's not just B&M. Across the North, across the Northern Powerhouse, certainly in my sector, there are a number of remarkable success stories in retail. One could mention Boohoo, one could mention Euro Garages, and clearly this morning's news that the two brothers who lead Euro Garages are involved in the acquisition of Asda further speaks testament to the entrepreneurial spirit of the Asian community here in the North. And I wish every entrepreneur and every business person every success over the years to come. I fully recognise just how incredibly difficult the current circumstances are, but I think as a personality type, we'll get through it and we'll be stronger on the other side. So thank you all, everyone, and best of luck with this award and future years.
Fantastic. Thank you very much, Simon, and some great words there. Yes, the Asda takeover this morning that's been confirmed is a real marker for for the entrepreneurs of the North, and I think the Issa brothers are role models for many people to follow. So thank you for that, Simon. Our second category is our digital and technology category. Our winner here is Furkan Almgir, the Chief Executive of Connection, does some fantastic work around smart cities. And we'll talk to Furkan in just a moment. Also on the shortlist from the Northeast, Professor Santos Shivritstava, Sarat Pediredler, and Tan Elihar. From the Northwest, we have Asad Shamim, Jamil Khalil, and Mashakul Huq. And from Yorkshire, we have Ashwain Raid and Gurdip Singh. Furkan, thank you for joining us. Tech, as everybody has discovered in the last 6 months, is an absolutely critical part of everything that we do. And I think it's been we've seen a transformational step change since March. But there's an awful lot going on. Just tell me a little bit about your particular business interest, what Connection does, and how you're making a difference.
Well, thank you very much, Alex. Firstly, truly kind of taken back by this. I wasn't expecting to win an award like this. So thank you very much for everyone who kind of nominated, and then the judges for putting me forward. Firstly, every time I hear Lord Billy Morris speak, I want to start another business. So thank you for that. Very inspiring. Getting to your question, I think, look, the times have shown that technology is a critical part of our lives. People talk about the fifth sense, the five senses that humans have, and then the sixth. Communication is imperative to our well-being, our mental health, and how we kind of scale and manage ourselves as people, a community, and culturally. So what we're doing in this space, we're building the cities of the future. We're building the networks of the future to enable all of that. We've done some amazing work in health, well-being, connecting cities together, helping cities better manage themselves, helping people communicate with each other. It's been a really, really exciting journey. And I think for me personally, growing a business, one in the North in the tech scene, so many times in my life, I've been told you'll never be able to do it. You need to move down to London. But, if you look at our story, we've raised over $100 million now as a company based in Kingston upon Hull, where, if you ask the Americans, they don't know where it is because you can't fly it direct from America there. So for me personally, I think technology is a critical foundation to all our success, business, politically, economically, health-wise. And I'm just super excited to be able to, kind of effect change in that space.
Yeah, and you do a fantastic job with that, Furkan. So congratulations on your award, and good luck with progressing the business even further.
Thanks, Alex.
Our third category is our Women in Business category, a very competitive one. And our judges decided that Karina Jadhav, the Managing Director from Menagerie Restaurants, was a deserving winner this year. As you can see from the shortlist, some very strong names in there as well. We had Anu Kara, Hine Joshi and Sabrina Din from the Northeast. From the Northwest alongside Karina, there's Asma Yunus, Joe Ahmed and Nisha Katona. And in Yorkshire, we had Usha Palmer, Farah Butt and Salma Chowdhury. Karina, thanks very much for joining us this lunchtime. Tough time for your sector at the moment, but it also, I think, reinforces how important it is for everybody to get together and the way that we all feel that sense of family and community. You know, how are you dealing with the situation at the moment?
Well, first of all, thank you very much for this award. Looking at the list of, other nominees, I feel massively underqualified for it. But I really do appreciate you choosing me and putting me forward, because I think more than ever, it's so important for us to show a representation of mixed race and Asian faces in roles that, especially being female, younger women may not have been able to visualize themselves in. So representation is so, so important. And particularly in hospitality, where we are a very male-dominated industry. I don't have the stats on the percentages of different ethnicities, but from my personal experience, I know that I don't see as many Asian faces in my network within hospitality as I would like to. In the current climate, it is more important than ever to find ways for people to engage with each other and to connect, and that is something that my industry brings to the table. With so many restrictions in place at the moment, it's a very challenging time for us to continue to do that, but it's something that we've really committed to, achieving, because I think it's so important for everyone's mental well-being as well. So yes, it is very difficult, but we've just gone above and beyond to ensure that we can provide safe spaces for people. And I think more than ever, it's important for any business in any sector to be continually adapting and reacting, so that there's an evolution, to basically survive what's going on. And I think that's something that we've done. So we've looked at different ways to diversify the business and to adapt to the restrictions that are in place and future restrictions that may appear, so that we can continue to provide some sense of connection for people, even if they can't always be in the venue, and sharing moments in person, like award ceremonies like this, I think are brilliant, so important, and just provide that kind of communication that we all really need and crave.
Yeah, and I know there are many of us who are very much looking forward to being able to get big gangs back together. Gangs is not quite the right word, to Menagerie and some of the other great restaurants across the north, and just really enjoy spending time together. And I think you're very modest at the start, but I think you're one of the important role models for the industry that people will look up to, and hopefully bring through the next generation, so that the next generation is much more diverse, whether that's gender or ethnicity, and really reflect the communities that are served. So congratulations, Karina, and thank you for joining us today.
Thank you.
Our next category is emerging entrepreneur, and really important, as we just touched on with Karina there, about bringing through the next leaders. Our overall winner, our judges have selected Sonia Batra-Byrne from AVIE or AV. Also on our shortlist was Nazia Aftab and Omar Bahadar. So Sonia, hopefully will be popping up there. Well, welcome, Sonia.
Thank you.
As an emerging entrepreneur, what do you, or who do you look up to, or what do you aspire to?
Well, when I first started a couple of years ago, there was a few challenges ahead, which was starting a business in West Yorkshire, being in the luxury fashion industry, but also challenging the fast fashion model and not being in London. So again, I think one of the other speakers was saying that they were told to go to London. I had a similar kind of conversations, like, you've got to be in London. And for us was to start up here when there wasn't any inspiration to have a luxury business up north. It was like, you've got to break the mold a little bit. You have to forge a path where everyone says it can't be done. You would say, well, it can be done. It's just a little bit more challenging. So we pursue that just because there's a wealth of knowledge in West Yorkshire surrounding luxury fabrications, and it once was a thriving mill town, and that still exists today in terms of having these local fabrications that you might not heard of, but they supply to Chanel and Gucci, major high level designers, and that's right on our doorstep. So why would I want to move to London, in a sense, when I can have that wealth and skilled craftsmanship right where I need to be? But in terms of inspiring, it is encouraging to see, like on today's awards, so many people forging new paths and showing the next generation what can be done. And hopefully I'm inspiring somebody else. We do partner with like University of Bradford School of Management as an SME, and providing business challenges where they can use their recent knowledge and critical thinking and how that can be applied to real sense business problems. And I believe it's just about giving back. So inspiration works both ways. I think you also have to give back as soon as you try to do something new.
Well, that's fantastic, and I know, there's an awful lot of exciting things happening. But it's great when successful businesses like yours work with universities and other community partners and really help to bring everybody along and lift the city and the wider region. So congratulations, Sonia.
Yeah, thank you for the nomination and the win.
Great. Our next category is our Emerging Leader Award. So taking a slightly broader look than just business. And our winner has been chosen as Amir Hussain from Yemi Architects. Again, another strong shortlist: Imran Khalid, Sanjeev Ratnatunga, Abhishek Singh, Advital Patel, Mohammed Hanan, Sasha Bhatt, and Zara Niatsi. So, Amir, property is a sector that can struggle to be diverse. How do you think your success can help improve that? Oh, hang on a second. I think we had two people unmuted.
Okay, I think I'm unmuted now. Well, first of all, I'm incredibly honoured, and I mean, just looking at the names there again, I feel that it's. I'm really blessed. There's been really, I think, to answer that question, it's such a fast-moving, sort of changing circumstances around the whole property sector that I think a lot of people have really struggled to reconcile with the change. And you've only got to see what's happened with retail and offices, and now what's happening with city centres and so on. And I have to say, I think that our approach has always been born out of our experiences in Bradford and really working in a place where we worked very closely on the ground with communities and really solved issues and solved problems. And I think that approach has actually led to not only a greater understanding of sort of the human dimension, but then also sort of working in challenging circumstances and creating great outcomes in challenging circumstances. So that's now transcended from sort of doing sort of small projects in Bradford to now doing sort of smart city inspired projects, not only in the UK, but elsewhere as well. But I think one of the key factors is how do we overcome the emerging two-tier society where the people who are digitally enabled, the ones that are on the fast track to being successful, continue on that, and actually everybody else is being left behind. And I think that the approach of integrative design is so powerful at overcoming some of the really challenging sort of systemic issues that we've got within society. And I would just make one other point, and that is, in my experience within the Asian business community, I think there's an incredible amount of passion and desire to do well. But the context has changed so rapidly, so fast, that I think a lot of people, and that's not just in the Asian business community, but a lot of people are actually struggling to adapt. So I think that there really needs to be a really strong interpretation between what's going on at a contextual level and how to translate that for people to be able to then create propositions that can meet the challenges of sort of this century and going forward from there. And I hope that's the role that we've been playing.
Yeah, no, I'm sure you and your team have, Amir, and, you know, a couple of really important challenges there that, you know, it's easy, isn't it, for us to look at the great successes like the people we have here today and remember that there's still an awful lot of work to do across all the communities of the North to bring everyone along with us.
Absolutely. Thank you very much.
Great. Congratulations, Amir.
Thank you.
Our next category is Inspiring Professionals. Our winner is Saima Aslam, the Managing Director of Bradford Literature Festival. And our shortlist included from the Northeast, Anu Kara, Ben Banerjee, Kosa Kitching. From the Northwest, Dr. Kondal Reddy Kandadi, Rizwan Ahmed and Shalina Bagoom, and from Yorkshire, Amir Hussain and Luxmi Gopal. Now, Saima, I said, Managing Director of Bradford Literature Festival, hence the fantastic backdrop of books behind her. I can see Joseph Heller and a couple of others. Saima, the arts is such a crucial sector for engagement and to introduce to people different lives, different experiences, different ways of seeing the world. How does the Bradford Literature Festival fit in and help achieve some of that?
Well, firstly, thank you so much for the award. I had no idea about the other nominees, so having just seen that list, I feel incredibly honoured to have been given the award. In terms of the, excuse me, suffering from the same problem as everybody else. I think in how the festival differs from the other festivals in the cultural space is that when the festival was created, there was an aspiration to create something that would be international, but would be very much rooted in the city that it came from. And Bradford, with its diversity of communities, with, you know, it's an international city with people from around the world, seemed the perfect place to actually create something that could be reflective of the city and would actually allow people to connect with it nationally and internationally. And that was really my inspiration. I think a number of speakers have already said this about the importance of diversity, of the importance of inclusivity in actually ensuring that any sector, I mean, we've heard from all these amazing different sectors, that any sector is actually really rich and able to move forward and achieve great things. And arts and culture is no different. I think for me, I've been really proud of the fact that the festival has actually been a game changer for diversity nationally in the culture sector, and particularly in the literature sector, where diverse voices can be underrepresented. So that was a real key inspiration for me. And Bradford obviously is a city of young people. My roots are actually Halifax, so I'm going to give a shout out to that city as well. But I think those are the two cities that have actually really inspired me, because that's, I'm Halifax born and bred, and then I've lived in Bradford for quite a long time. And I felt it was really, really important that we created events, brought people together from around the world that actually would allow our young people to see themselves reflected and to raise their aspirations.
I think it's done a fantastic job doing that. So best of luck in the future, and congratulations on the award.
Thank you.
Our next category is thought leaders, a very difficult category to judge, but they selected Nazir Afzal, the former Chief Crown Prosecutor for the North West of England, as our first winner. Also on the shortlist, it was Dr. Harry Shukla, Nitin Shukla, Vasant Oswal. From the North West, Dr. Nihad Awan and Mohammed Amjad Khan. And from Yorkshire, Kari Asim, Rashid Palmer and Amajit Singh. Nazir, I think one of the things that's most impressive is not just the thought leadership, but putting thought into action. How have you tried to change attitudes and preconceptions in your work?
Good afternoon to you, Alex. Good afternoon to everybody. Thank you so much to Asian Powerlist to Sharon and everybody else. And to phenomenal list of nominees, some of them who are my friends. I didn't know they were nominated. I apologize to them for getting the award. To be frank, there are things, Alex, which I've begun to speak about, which I didn't want to speak about. For example, this year, most of this year, I've been talking about how the response to COVID hasn't been as good as it could have been by the government. That's because my brother died from COVID. I would rather have my brother back than have to speak about it for the last 6 months. He died at home. He died at home because there was no place for him in a hospital. It took us 9 days to bury him. We had 30 minutes to bury him. I couldn't go to his funeral. All of those things made me realize that we had to have a conversation about COVID, which quite frankly we weren't having. And of course we know that COVID has had a discriminatory impact on people from Black and minority communities. When people want to ask me to talk about terrorism and extremism, that's usually because there's been a terrorist attack. When people ask me to talk about child sexual exploitation or child abuse, it's because they realize that there's a significant problem all over the country, if not the world. And so I find myself talking about subjects that I'd rather not talk about, but because I don't, if I don't, then they probably will be not discussed as thoroughly as they should be. I'm very privileged that in my lifetime and my career, victims and survivors and people who are experts have decided to talk to me. And one of the underrated skills, the underrated skill of a leader is listening. And I'm literally always listening to what people have to say. They have the best ideas. I'm not an expert. There are 10,000 lawyers who know more law than I do. But there are people who trust me, who come forward and tell me what's going on in their lives, whatever their lives may be, what obstacles they face. And I'm then privileged and honored to be able to do something with that. I think it would be a real crying shame if I didn't do something with the information I got. And I always point to the fact that 20 odd years ago, I was watching a child being raped on video, an 18-month-old child being raped on video. Your world changes. It cannot remain the same when you see something like that. You then must dedicate yourself to bringing the change. And I've been very fortunate to have access, very fortunate to have access to the media, very fortunate to have access to government and officials in order to try and deliver change so that people don't have to suffer the way that they've always suffered. So I think from my perspective, I'm not going to stop. There's far too much wrong in the world. Today we're celebrating all the good people, and there are, thankfully, many more good people than there are bad people. But the bad people also need to be highlighted, and what we need to do to ensure that people aren't suffering the way they've been suffering. And as I say, I'm really grateful to the Asian Powerlist for this award, but also as an opportunity really to tell people that you can make a difference. My obstacles, the obstacles I've faced, the racism I've felt, I've had far-right thugs outside my front door. I'm on an Al-Qaeda death list right now and have been for 14 years. All of that doesn't stop me doing stuff. And therefore I encourage anybody who has the passion, I hope, to help other people to do so.
Yes, well, powerful words as always, Nazir, and good luck in continuing your work. It's very important that these issues are discussed. You're a great advocate for the North and our communities. So thank you.
Thank you.
Our next award is Cultural Icons, and our winner is the Creative Director of Leeds Culture Trust, Cully Thiare. Also on the shortlist was Vikas Kumar, Shobna Gulati, Shanaz Gutsar, and Nick Ahad. Cully, Leeds 2023 is a great platform to showcase the diversity of Leeds and the wider city. How can that make a real difference, and how can everybody get involved and support the work that will be going on over the next 3 years?
Well, hello, and thanks. Like everyone else, just to say a huge privilege to be nominated and to receive this award, and huge congratulations to my colleagues who are also friends on that list. I mean, I think part of the ambitions for Leeds 2023 and the opportunity that year gives us to make a landmark year of culture happen in the region is to sort of really celebrate the extraordinary talent and creativity that exists up here. not just in Leeds, but in the wider Yorkshire and indeed across the north. We know that culture in these really difficult times has played its part in supporting and creating solace and enabling people to connect together, and that's a vital and central way of how we live and how we tell our stories and how we shape our lives. And it's a vital strand of everybody's existence. And so I think that part of what we want to do through Leeds 2023 is to really, one, imagine making the impossible possible by creating extraordinary moments to enable people to come together in all sorts of surprising and imaginative ways. Secondly, really to co-create and co-produce and partner to really amplify all of the brilliant things that are happening from showcasing the work of our national and international companies that are based here, but also the real heart and soul of our communities who do all sorts of activity and individual creativity that happens in those places that sometimes we're not aware of. And thirdly, really to think about, the whole ecology of the creative industries and how we seed the future talent and how we support and nurture skills development and make sure that art and culture is available and an opportunity for everyone to both make and create and celebrate and share who they are and the ways in which, we can all create places and spaces that are supportive and inspiring and enable us to know each other and share our different lived experiences together. And we know that, we're really hungry for wanting to come together. If nothing else, COVID really has highlighted how much our social fabric and our connection to each other is vital to our own well-being. So we hope that, culture will play its part in the process of recovery from this extraordinary time, but also amplify what is already brilliant culturally in the city and region.
Yeah, and I think the excitement that will build to 2023 will be a key part of that and letting everybody look forward and get excited again. And so good luck as you develop your preparations. It's going to be a fantastic year. I'm just glad I don't have to do all the work that must be involved. But congratulations, Cully.
Thank you very much.
Cully also mentioned about being hungry, so that moves us nicely onto our food and drink category. And our winner is Mohammed Ishaq from the Punjab Kitchen. Our shortlist included Jaf Ali Dabawal, Nagma Ebanks Benny, Bilal Hassan Ghafoor, Nisha Katona, Raj Samaya, Ashgar Ali, Bobby Patel, Mohammed Aslam, and Eunice Chowdhury. Now, unfortunately, Mr. Ishaq couldn't be with us today, but just to give you a quick flavour of what the Punjab Kitchen does, it's based up in the northeast and they provide special diet meals to the public sector, but delivering about 120,000 meals or serve 120,000 patients a week. A fantastic business based up in the northeast, as I said, that's really grown and delivering something of real social value as well. So we will pass on our congratulations to Mohammed shortly. But that question of social change moves us on to our final category from the Power List, our social change makers. And our judges selected Hanif Malik and Rifat Malik as our winners of this category, very deservedly. Our shortlist was Nadeem Ahmed, Ranjana Bell, Yasmin Khan, Farah Qureshi, Azim Kidway, Anwar Ali, Adim Yunus, Professor Zahir Irani, and Jasvinder Sagiri. As you can see, a fantastic shortlist. But Hanifa and Rifat are doing some fantastic work, and I think change really only matters when it reaches the disenfranchised and disconnected. And they do some fantastic work with the privileged. I've just been told, I think we've lost them momentarily, so I'm not sure that we're able to go over to them just at this moment, which is a real shame, but hopefully we'll be able to speak to them before the end of our session. So I'd just like to wrap up by saying congratulations to everyone on the Powerlist. The business desk has been delighted to be part of this initiative and programme, and look forward to being a key part of it in the years to come. You know, it's a great list of winners with some real success stories that will continue to roll out, and you'll be able to read about on the business desk in the months and years ahead. I've just seen a raised hand from Rifat Malik. I don't know if we can go over to Rifat. We'll just be 30 seconds on the technology. Yeah, because Rifat and Hanif have got a great story to tell. Actually, great. Glad you could. We can make the technology work. Just tell us a little bit about your work and why it's so important in your communities.
Well, just before we do, firstly, like everybody else, thank you very much for selecting us as the winners of this category. A lot of familiar names there, and some great people there. And congratulations to everybody else who's been a recipient of an award. A number of the winners have actually alluded to the impact of COVID in their respective areas of industry. But COVID really has totally decimated sections of communities right across the UK, including here in Leeds and Yorkshire. We talk about the disproportionate effect of COVID on BAME communities in terms of health and the fatalities, but actually the impact just in terms of poverty has really been really hard to witness, and that's largely what we've been undertaking over the last 6 months is trying to do our best to bridge that void. But you actually made a slight error in terms of the wording when you sent that out for our category. You put Hanif Malik and his wife Rifat Malik. What you should have said is Rifat Malik and her husband Hanif Malik, because she's actually the powerhouse, not me. So I'm going to hand over to Rifat for the final word.
Thank you for for the award. We are honoured and privileged. But as my husband has just said, yes, COVID has impacted on everybody in ways that we couldn't imagine. And we as a charity have been dealing with disadvantaged communities pre-COVID, but our work has just been multiplied to an extent that we couldn't even imagine. People who were working have lost their jobs. People who are claiming benefits, having to collect, are not surviving. So our work has just basically digressed, and we've been focusing on that, even to the point of even, Lord Nazir talked about burying his brother. Well, we've had people who've passed away who couldn't even afford to bury their family members. So we've had to sort of take that challenge on as well. And all I can say is that, we are here to help everybody. We've seen the best of humanity coming together in this pandemic. And we as a community, we as the UK are going to pull together, and we're going to get through this. And, again, some fantastic worthy winners there, amazing nominations as well. And, I wish everybody the best of success and stay safe.
And a Freudian slip there, as she called Nazir after Lord Nazir, but that's of course where he's heading and where we want to see him. So,
definitely.
So that's probably a prediction for the future.
Indeed. Thank you both. A great note to end our awards part on. And important that you are our final winner, who's doing such important work in the community. So congratulations and good luck with your work.
Thank you.
And I will now pass straight over to Sharon, who will take us through our final two speakers and look at the what's next. Sharon, over to you.
Thank you, Alex, and a massive congratulations to the winners, the finalists. Absolutely blown away with the people on that list. I'd like to now hand over to the former Northern Powerhouse Minister, the Right Honourable Jake Berry, who is now going to share how the Asian community can help the Northern Powerhouse to build back better. Over to you, Jake.
Hello. Thank you so much for that introduction. And what an honour to have the opportunity to take part in these extraordinary awards today. I was reading the report that goes with these awards, which I think tells an extraordinary story But the most eye-catching numbers I saw in it, that the Asian heritage community here in the UK makes up just 4% of our population, but contributes 10% to our GDP. And I think as a community, that is an extraordinary story of success, and one every single nominee and winner and every member of this panel should be very proud of. I want to congratulate all our winners. We've heard it many times today. It is always a difficult job for the judges. So I'd say to those of you who have won, well done. But remember, there are people snapping at your heels, because pioneers, as we've heard, become leaders. And there is now a responsibility for all of our winners to work across the north of England to ensure that the extraordinary beacons of success that they are continue to inspire generations of young entrepreneurs in the north to come. And already today, we've seen the fantastic news that Asda is going to go from an American-owned company to a British-owned company for the first time for 20 years. It's going to remain headquartered in Yorkshire, owned by Lancashire entrepreneurs, bringing together the white and red rose in what I know will be a huge success story for our country. And the two brothers who stand behind that deal, of course, 19 years ago, were working out of a terraced house in Blackburn. And I think those sorts of stories, the extraordinary tradition and power of entrepreneurship across the Asian community in the north of England, can inspire us all, whichever community we come from. Now, I had the privilege of serving in a bit of a powerhouse myself as Northern Powerhouse Minister. And when I did that, I was in the cabinet, Boris Johnson's first cabinet and the one after the election. And I also had the privilege of working with some inspiring politicians. Priti Patel, our Home Secretary, Alok Sharma, our Business Secretary, Rishi Sunak, now the Chancellor of the Exchequer, and after I left, Suella Fernandez, the Attorney General. 50% of the great officers of state are now represented by people in an extraordinary way who are from the Asian heritage community. That shows to me it isn't just in the business world, but also in all aspects of our public life and community leadership, that the Asian community here in the UK is showing that it is truly a powerhouse and a force for good across our United Kingdom. I was always a great advocate for the entrepreneurship of Northerners in the Cabinet, and I remain that advocate today. And I've been fascinated to hear about that living bridge, that connection between the diaspora in the United Kingdom and countries around the world that can ensure that the Northern Powerhouse becomes an exporting superpower. And my work now and in the future is going to be about ensuring that the Northern Powerhouse succeeds and that we build on that international trade that can only be done on a pan-Northern basis. So I'd say to all of you, please continue to inspire, please continue to lead, but ensure that you also play your part in creating the north of England as a global exporting powerhouse and superpower. We need to take back control of our own destiny, of our business community, and of our relations. We have seen that already, but now is the time we must build on it. We've heard a lot of talk about the negative impact of COVID in our economy. This is an appalling disease that has disproportionately affected the BAME community across Britain. And I think that to build stronger and build beyond that, it shows us that those bonds of friendship, corporate bonds and family bonds are now stronger than ever, and now is the opportunity for us to build from them. So I look forward to working with all of you as we take forward the Northern Powerhouse, particularly in this new way with international trade at its heart. And I want to finish with huge congratulations, not just to our winners, who it's been a privilege to hear from some of Britain's leading entrepreneurs this afternoon, but also to all the shortlisted candidates and the people who got very close to getting on that list. It's a privilege to talk to you, to have the privilege of working with you, and to celebrate the huge success that you have all achieved with these Northern Asian Powerlist Award nominations and victories. Thank you.
Thank you, Jake. Powerful words, really inspiring, and a great vision. And now over to the Chief Executive of the Peace Hall, a great friend, Nicola Chance-Thompson, DL. Nicola, we would have been having the awards ceremony at the beautiful Peace Hall.
We would indeed, and I'm sorry that we couldn't play host to you all today, but please do come back and celebrate when we can.
Most definitely. So could you tell us what next for the Northern Asian Powerlist?
Thank you, Sharon. Well, first of all, my heartfelt congratulations to all of the winners. As a judge in this process and also a potential host to you all, I was personally overwhelmed by the talent and the contribution that you make to society. And it was incredibly difficult, as Jake mentioned, and very hard to make final decisions. And I feel privileged myself to be amongst such great leaders, inspirational people and role models who are really needed in these times. But with this title and with this honour comes responsibility. And we have some asks of you all. Sharon's going to be engaging with you all on a number of projects that Yaba have and are developing, some of which involve working with the Lead City Region Enterprise Partnership around developing inward and outbound trade opportunities, opportunities around technology and food and drink with Squire Patton Boggs, and NatWest are going to be leading on engaging with women in business to really drive this agenda forward. The Power List, I'm delighted to say, will be launched at Westminster soon, possibly virtually. And during November, there's going to be a social media campaign to engage the wider Northern community and seek their support for the Power List. So Sharon, I presume we're going to be sending out some of these actions to all of the people on the call. But for me personally, I just wanted to leave the session with a quote by Malala Yousafzai. And she says, "Let us remember, one book, one pen, one child and one teacher can change the world." And from what I've seen, everybody that's won this award today are world changers. And we're going to need you now more than ever. So thank you for your contribution and many congratulations again on your awards today.
Thank you, Nikki. Thank you so much. And before we conclude the event, I'd just like to say a big thank you to the team behind the Northern Asian Powerlist project. And they are Karen French, Daniela Dowse, Wendy Ramshaw, Holly Atkinson and Holly Maxwell from Squire Patton Boggs, Jenny Holstock from the West Yorkshire Combined Authority, Simon Baldwin from Leeds Beckett University, Heather Waters from NatWest, Nicole Strickland from the Manchester India Partnership, and Simon Collingwood, who led on all the PR and communication. That now concludes the launch of the Northern Asian Powerlist. The report will be made available through our launch partner, the Business Desk. Thank you so much, Lee J and Alex. Please follow the news today and hashtag NA Powerlist. Thank you very much.